Welcome, my acolytes. I'm Graveseeker, and this is a reaction to Ratatoskrs. There are no objective reviews. And by the way, I agree, there are no objective reviews. Now, what do I agree with him? I don't know. I didn't see this for now. First look at it. So let's just see if he can actually prove his point or he doesn't. Because, by the way, for somebody that doesn't know, Ratatoskr went out and made a negative review about Lord of the Fallen. The Souls community doesn't like it because all the big boys think that this is a flawless game, or most of the part flawless, like pretty close to flawless, and ignore the flaws of the game. And although I definitively don't agree that it's a flawless game, I think it's above average. But let's see what Ratatoskr has to say, and let's just have him speak his mind, hear him out, and say what he has to say.
I've been meaning to make this video for a while, and now is as good a time as any. I gave a negative review to Lords of the Fallen in my last video, and the fans of that game had some criticisms which I will address in this one.
A negative yeah, basically, yeah, no, he's
But this video isn't exactly about Lords of the Fallen. I've already talked about what I think about that game.
Yeah.
The point of this video is more general, and what I say here will apply to any review or video that I make in the future.
Okay.
First of all, one of the criticisms I received is that I can't have a review if I haven't completed the game.
Already, I don't know what he has to say about it, but come on, like, you can have a review if you didn't complete the game. That's fine. It's okay, but specifically say you didn't complete the game, you did like half of it, or you just played the first 3 hours. Because, in my opinion, if you only played 3 hours, okay, the freaking review is useless, because it's only 3 hours. You don't know shit about it, yeah? But if it's like, in his case, 15 hours, 15 hours is almost an entire day. That's actually some opinion we should hear out. Because at the end of the day, he paid for this game. And he expected something out of it. And he didn't get what he got. And I really wanna, even if I agree or not, I don't know, but I wanna hear why he doesn't like it. So we can make the game better, so everybody gets a better game out of it at the end.
And I'm just going to nip that in the bud before I move forward.
Yeah.
I don't have to finish a game to develop a negative impression on it and make a video and review it.
Correct.
I don't subscribe to the philosophy that a review needs to have you beat the game. If I play a game for 15 hours and what I find there convinces me to stop, then that too is valuable information for a review. Mm-hmm. And if anything, that's an opinion you can trust more, because it means this game was so bad that I willingly gave up the revenue that I might have made by having this video be longer and explaining all the things I didn't like all the way up to the end game and New Game Plus.
Yes.
Now, to some degree, I understand the surprise, because all the reviews I've done up to this point have been reviews where I completed the whole game.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, correct. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, it's a surprise. But as I said, don't just do... just say it's not, you didn't complete it. That's all I want. And he actually did say it in the video. So I don't see the problem.
But that's been a coincidence. I've never seen it as a necessity. And often, beating the game isn't enough for people, really. Like for Starfield, did you beat all of the main campaigns? Did you significantly do the New Game Plus content? The game's so big, you can't have an appropriate review without 100 hours of playtime on it. Okay, so I did put 100 hours of playtime into Starfield. And I hated it. The last 85 hours were as bad as the first 15.
Yes, and by the way, I'm gonna say it like this, because I think even Asmongold said it. If you like eating shit, eat shit. I don't care. But don't come to me and say it's a freaking roast beef, perfectly made roast beef steak. Because it's not. It's shit. Eat shit if you want. If you want it, just do it. Nobody will. I can't stop you. Nobody can stop you. Ratatoskr can't stop you. Just do it. But don't say it's good stuff. Because most of the time, if you eat shit, you don't have to eat the entire 100 hours of shit. It's enough if you just eat the freaking 15 hours of shit and you're like, okay, it's shit. I won't eat it. What the fuck? Honestly, like, why would people, who are those dumbasses that actually cannot just accept that they like something bad? If you just like something bad, then like it. It's fine. But just stop being angry about it. Why be angry about it if somebody says their opinion about it? He didn't even insult the people that actually like it, like I just did. Because I'm a bit more aggressive about it. Because it's just sickening to me that, yeah, I had, like, really, honestly, I had a few people that I'm very thankful for, that they actually left a comment and I can speak them like with normal human beings. That's fantastic. And then there were a lot of dipshits, some stupid fuckers, that I just started straight up ignoring and just even deleted their comments because they didn't add anything of worth to the case. It is what it is.
I'm not going to play 50 hours of your favorite pile of slop just so I can have a slightly better review. Especially when its problems and the source of my criticisms are obvious in the first 15. So you should consider this notice if it's a prerequisite for you that a game is absolutely finished before you can have an opinion on it, then many of my reviews may not be what you want.
Then no review on this effing planet, or let's say 99.99% of the reviews, are just not for the person that wants a full completion. Because, come on, who 100% every game after the first day of release? Nobody. But there are a lot of reviews out. And most of those people can't tell if it's a good game or not. Or at least in their opinion. Of course, in their opinion. But let's be honest here. If freaking 9,999 people of 100,000... Wait. I'm talking bullshit. I'm sorry about that. 99,999 of 100,000 people say that's bullshit. Maybe there's something that they're onto something.
Okay, the other criticism that I received, and this is the one that I really want to talk about, is that my review was too subjective. Let me share some examples. Very subjective review with very few objective reasons on why it's a bad game. It's fair for you not to like a game, but if you're going to make a review on why a game is objectively bad, then don't just come up with a bunch of subjectively based points on why it's bad. I think if you change the title to I don't like it, instead it's bad, the video would make more sense. Nearly all of your negative points are just your preference and are not indicative of the quality of the game as a whole. Okay.
No, come on. Like, there are some objective things that you just have where it's just, I don't know, like, what's objectively bad? Let's just talk about the graphics. You can say it's objectively bad or good. The graphic style, on the other hand, that's subjective. Controls. Do they play well or do they play good for the kind of controls that are meant to be in it? Are they good? Are they bad? That's objective. The subjective part is, those aren't the controls I like. Let's say Resident Evil has tank controls, you don't like those? It's fine. But the tank controls are still responsive, fine tank controls. For tank controls, they are totally acceptable. It is what it is.
Here's the issue with this argument. There's no such thing as an objective review.
No, there isn't.
And if there was, you've never seen it. You've never...
Although, I am trying to be 100% objective, or I'm trying to be as objective as I can, but in any case, everything I say, or someone different says, or someone else that gets paid for it says, it has always a subjective part to it. And the thing is, don't fish the people out who you agree or disagree on a certain point. Look for the critics that actually think like you about certain things, and if they say, hey, this is like this is like this, this is like this, hear them out, because then you know, okay, the chance that this person that has the same thinking pattern as me says this, this, and this, okay, I'm probably gonna like it or dislike it, as the person says.
In your life seen an objective review, because if it wouldn't be interesting, there'd be next to nothing you can say about the game if you weren't talking about your subjective impressions. When you go to a channel and you look up reviews for a game, you're asking for that reviewer's personal opinion on the quality of the game. Yep, measurements of quality are subjective. If my review was going to limit itself to just talking about objective attributes of a game and criticize it on that basis, then I would be limited to talking about things like bugs, performance issues, things of which Lords of the Fallen has many, by the way. Yep, I would be talking about how many times the game crashed when I tried to boot it, how many valuable resources I lost as a result of some bug. Mm-hmm. I talk about how the multiplayer is nearly unplayable.
Yep.
You want an objective review? Here, let me give you an objective review for Lords of the Fallen. Here it goes. Lords of the Fallen came out in 2023. The game has levels and bosses. The game has a lot of different weapons and spells. It's commonly classified as an action RPG. The game doesn't have save points. You can upgrade your weapons, but only if you want to. I'm not saying that you'll have a better experience if you upgrade your weapons, because you might have a better experience if you don't upgrade your weapons. Your personal experience is an opinion and outside the purview of this review.
Correct. This was an objective review. And did you get the information you wanted out of it? No. No, I'm sorry, not that you wanted any kind of information, of useful information. No.
This has been my Lords of the Fallen review. Thank you for coming. Okay. My point is, an objective review would only be able to talk about facts and wouldn't be able to extrapolate as to what the facts mean. You can't talk about quality without talking about opinion. Let me demonstrate that with this comment that I showcased earlier.
In most cases, yes. Some things aren't an opinion, some things are objective. But most of the reviews are a mix of objective and a subjective matter. Most of the points are subjective most of the time.
In the beginning of the comment it says, fast response versus methodical, more clunky intentional combat, the amount of enemies and combat pacing, the art style direction, and overall difficulty are all things that are subjective, and every person who plays will have different preferences and feelings about each. Now, all the things that he just said are true.
Yes. Did you get something out of it? No, it's a crap review. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is the same thing you can read for yourself on the freaking box, on the page.
This guy clearly understands the difference between objective and subjective. Let's see what he has to say a little further down in his comment. Liza P., a game which you said to be one of the best non-FromSoft Souls-likes, has much more objective design issues, such as incredibly linear map design.
Okay.
To the point that almost can't be considered a Souls-like. Inability to respec until after one of the hardest bosses in the game. Limited build variety. The player having 0 poise despite enemies having 100% poise almost every attack. Multi-phase boss marathons which require you to slowly kill the first phase, only to be killed instantly or before you can fully learn the second phase, and the fact that the game really doesn't do almost anything interesting, or that even resembles the source material of Pinocchio.
Let's see Ratatoskr first.
I really love this comment. I really like this comment because it shows you the disconnect that happens in people's brains.
Yes.
They're very good at picking out what's subjective in the opinions other people have that don't agree with them. But they're very bad at figuring out what's subjective when it comes to their own opinion.
Correct. That's the same thing I wanted to say. Because every human being works the same way. By the way, I am no actual exclusion out of that. And you're also not an exclusion out of that, my acolyte. It is what it is. We can only try to do our best and do the best we can to explain something to someone as it is, as it could be. And by the way, the guy, I just want to say it because this is definitively subjective. Objective issues, including on linear map design? No, it's not an objective fact that linear map design is bad. It may be you don't like it. It doesn't say and in this I'm not saying that the linear map design of Lies of P, like relatively linear design of Lies of P, is good or bad. I think it's good, but it's not inherently bad because it's linear. Bosses in the game limited to a variant of a player having 0 poise deposit, 3 poise almost attack. No poise, as I said, objectively bad? No. Super Mario doesn't have poise. Is it okay in that game? Yes. Is it bad in Lies of P? I would say so, especially for the two-handed weapons, because I want to play them. And no. Multi-phase poses marathon, blah, 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 because if you're too shitty to kill the first phase of a boss and then learn the second one, and you cannot first try it, that's on you. And, well, most of the time, I mean, I first tried some bosses in Lies of P, and I second tried some bosses, and I freaking 10 times some bosses, and a few of those I needed over 30 tries. And those aren't like bad or good. I mean, instantly before you fully learn the second phase, game really doesn't almost anything interesting to even resemble of Meteor of Pinocchio. It doesn't anything interesting to resemble the Meteor of Pinocchio. A few. That's definitively subjective in my opinion. Going from Pinocchio, like the little Holzpuppe, the little wooden doll that's going out and doing this stuff on the world and becoming a real boy, and this, like how they actually changed it in a Souls game nonetheless, is in my opinion, subjective opinion, pretty effing good. It's genius. So the last is Taguna, even though there are many things. F you. The
second phase, and the fact that the game really doesn't do... I really love this comment. I really like this comment.
Yeah,
because it shows you brains. They're very good at picking out what's subjective in the opinions other people have that don't agree with them. But they're very bad at figuring out what's subjective when it comes to their own opinion. Yeah. So in the second part of his comment, he talks about the objective design issues, and then goes on to list a litany of opinions. Linear map design is not an issue, it's a design choice.
Correct, yes.
Whether or not it's good or bad is an opinion. A non-linear game is not objectively better than a linear game, as a matter of course.
Before he says his
the player not having poise is a design choice, and whether or not it works out is a matter of opinion. Bloodborne, a game that Lies of P is clearly inspired by, also didn't have poise. And Bloodborne is one of the most beloved From Software titles.
I forgot about it, yes.
You not being able to learn the second phase of a boss fight before you get killed is not an objective design issue. Whether or not it's a good thing that the bosses are harder, that they have multiple phases, and that you're unlikely to beat it first try, is a matter of opinion. There's not a single objective criticism in this list of objective design issues. And that's not a surprise, because you can't say anything about quality without using your own judgment. From what I can gather in these comments, the problem people are having is that I put "it's bad" in the title, and they took great offense to that. For some reason, they're assuming that I'm proposing that as an objective reality. They feel compelled to remind me that that's just my personal opinion, as if I didn't know that. But I find it odd.
I think I already said, those are stupid facts. What the F? Don't.
That only seems to happen when I'm criticizing something. When I praise a game, it doesn't seem to get this same reaction.
Yes, of course it doesn't. Then I'm gonna explain you why. Because if you give someone bad feelings, they're gonna lash out. At least the less, well, let's say, social active people. Because everyone who's in a social mindset or a social territory that socializes with other people, they actually know what to say, how to say it, when to say it, what they can say, what they can't. And if you look in the eyes of a different person, you actually see the reaction to something and you're thinking then. Right now, Ratatoskr, for them, you are just a mini old human being that's behind that, that's just saying his opinion, and he's specifically there to harm them. And that's just not the case.
And in other people's Lords of the Fallen reviews, I've seen "it's amazing," "it's good" on the title or thumbnail. Do you also go to their videos and harp on about how that's just their opinion? Here's the thing. I'm not going to put "in my opinion" after every subjective statement that I say in a video. I'm simply not. It's ridiculous. You should know that when I say something subjective, I know that it's subjective. I don't have to say "in my opinion" to avoid making you offended, and you don't need to remind me. People do not talk that way. The fact that it's an opinion is implied. If I say the enemy placement in Lords of the Fallen is awful, you should know that that's just an opinion, whether or not I put the "in my opinion" tag next to it.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that I'm proposing what I think is an objective vision of reality, and anybody that enjoyed the enemy placement in Lords of the Fallen is stupid and wrong. I'm not saying that, and you should know that I'm not saying that, even if I don't assure you of that every 5 seconds. And that's the end of this video. In my opinion, you should unsubscribe and unclick the bell notification. If you have an opinion, then please put it in the comment section, especially if it's a particularly aggressive one. And if your opinion of me is not negative enough to do that, then I'm sure I'll change that opinion in a future video. Until then, thank you very much for watching.
I like Ratatoskr. He's a fine man. But as he said, come on people, like, just don't be that guy. Just don't be that guy. Like, please, just calm down. It's a effing game. It's not a very good game, pissing off more people, but I mean, it's a fine game. In his opinion, of course. I mean, even his opinion is more or less the same as mine, and I don't think it's... Maybe because he said it's bad, yeah, truly, maybe he's right about it, but I don't know. But it is what it is. Acolytes, as it is, good night.